Hope you guys doing well. Sent out the daily bias for today of what I'm looking for. I'm favoring, if you were in the market review yesterday, I'm looking for preferably bullish price action for today and into tomorrow, hopefully. Sweeping the current buy side of the week, and then as well as this 4-hour buy side up at 20,500 or so. We have 8:30 news today. That already is printed. It's started to drop down. 9:30 as well, starting to drop down. We also have tariffs releasing at 10 a.m. Trump speaking about tariffs with us and the UK. So the possibility of that probably not being orange folder, more likely red folder. So we're expecting some volatility. I don't know how much to be injected into the market at that point. Came down and just swept London low, which is the current daily low. I want to see if we can get some sort of reaction out of that. I don't really want it to close below and start dropping into hourly gaps. We've got on the 1-hour chart, I'll pull up over here. We already dropped into that inefficiency during London and then displaced away, formed a gap, violated that gap. And like I said, if we close now inside of this, to me, that's already kind of weaker than I want. And even the fact that it's touching this discount end to me is a little bit more weak than I'd want. If it dropped into and took out the London low, starts pulling back up, that's the best case. I don't want it to come back into this gap. I don't want it to really come back into this gap. To me, that's a little bit too far if it really wants to spool up and continue for it to drop all the way back into discount during New York. For it to come all the way back into here, or all the way into here, really, and then come all the way back up. To me, it's just very weird, PA. I mean, look at the weekly open here. This is delineates the weekly open with this green line. Chops around, drops down, fails to take out the low, comes back up into premium, drops all the way back down, takes out the low, and takes out the discount end, then displaces up aggressively, drops into a gap here with the breaker there. So to me, there's no reason that this gap should be filled. This gap should be filled. And if you saw the demo from yesterday as well, the one shot, one kill, I'm trying to practice. I've got my stop up to here as well. I think it's either up to here or up to here. One of those two. But yesterday, if you saw the recording, you'll know what I'm talking about. That video is also posted. If you've not watched it, fantastic video, I think. At least based on the ratings we got. About 80 to 90% of people said it was 10 out of 10. So let me go to, I think Mosto was the guy that was supposed to be getting tier 2. So I was already favoring it this morning's open that 8:30 was going to run up, tag that buy side. We left some relative equal lows, relative equal highs right below it. 8:30 news coming in. We already had FOMC yesterday used as the manipulation driver, and now we need an expansion driver. I was favoring if we could run up, smack that. So this to me looks manipulation. I'm in favor of this in the low. If we got SMT down there as well. Nope. We do have a slight SMT between the lows here, current AM session low, here and here. Not the best. I would have favored if London low was not ran out by one of these guys. Now, I don't really want to be looking for shorts today, like I said, because then I'd be trading back and towards an internal range. And I think that's counter bias from at least where the week is showing me it wants to go. We already have a weekly low put in. Tag that, displaced up through the inefficient, or through the SysD there very quickly. To me, I don't really know why it would need to drop back into that internal range. And for me to start trading back inside the range is just unwise. I might as well just wait until tomorrow. Do you think we will... Hold up, my screen is tweaking out. Let me full screen my other ones. This should not be on 15 minutes. This is 5 minutes. There we go. I find it a little weird that we came down and swept sell side again, right at 9:30 If this is manipulation, that's fine. Should have expanded up, use this, expanded up at 9:30. But if we have manipulation, I don't really want 10 a.m. to be the low of the day. That's very, very weak. We're already in a continuation profile. It's what I'm expecting, right? A continuation profile, already moving up towards the draw. I don't know why we need to manipulate 3 more times after FOMC manipulated all the sell stops going into the day. That's my logic behind it. If we get it, so be it. It is what it is, right? And already on the 5-minute, 15-minute, it's looking weaker than it should. We don't have inefficiencies forming. We have this one forming there. But as of right now, we have no inefficiency forming on the New Wick opening gap there. Hope that we come back up and just immediate rebalance that. And there's nothing formed here. But if we do have a gap here forming on top of this high, low, higher high that failed to sweep the high, this would be a mitigation block. Potentially there's SMT up there as well. But I'll tag on the demo if you want to see the demo. You can see the stop there as well. This is the demo we looked at yesterday. Long after FOMC on the weekly low, taking it off there at the Asian highs, buy side, taking off. I didn't take off another one, but I'm assuming I'm going to take it off there. And then another limit up at the gap, and then another limit, or my final pull at the level is what I was talking about there. So hopefully going from the weekly low to the weekly high. So like I said, my stop in this case would be on top of that. I don't want it to drop into this gap. I've got it about a tick above there. So I'm not favoring to run it to here. We can maybe run it to here at an absolute maximum, but in terms of a weekly profile, I see there's no reason to drop back into this range. So that's that. It was on paper trade, but wasn't a bad idea to take that trade with the 8:45 5-minute IVG. 8:45. Oh, like a short? Talking about a short off of this? I don't think that's terrible. Long in the 5-minute fair value up. Oh, I see. It'd be all right. Only problem I have with that is there's no underlying market structure, right? There's no 5-minute market structure shift, 5-minute SSD, nor is there a 5-minute IFEG. We have no closure above the gap. So if you were going long in here, you got to have underlying narrative of maybe there was SMT there. Maybe there was some sort of higher time frame gap we're tagging into, displacing up, right? All that is possibilities. Meh. 6 hour. Never used that before. Can't hear me? You may have to restart. If it's cutting in and out, looks good to me. There we go. Musto in here? Let me see. Hopefully he is. Yes, sir. Perfect. Welcome, welcome. If you got any more questions as well about accessing the private group, just let me know. Or you can DM my admins as well. I'm right with you, Tywags. Yep. Look, yeah, I'm going to put that in predictions chat as well. 10 a.m. high impact. Best to just wait till after the tariffs come out. Oh, SMT with a YM. Fantastic. Not the best, but still counts. Yeah, this would be... you could, Maddie P. I don't really like it that much because it's within this right here. So, first presentation. Is it really a gap? Is it really a sibi? Not really. At least the way I look at it. You got this up, down, boom. That just looks like speed to me. So if we get a bisi up here. Oh, on ES, let's see. Oh, on ES, yeah, you might be right. Unless a little bit better. On the way it's touching first presentation CE right there. Yeah, you're not. Let's mark it out. Now, if we can get displacement above this short-term swing high, that would be great. Yes, on the 15-minute bisi, perfect. There's your PD area SMT. Remember, we got 8:30 news, so entries between 9:30 and 10:10 are preferred time window. It can bleed into Silver Bullet, but if the engine's starting here, I don't really want to be trading that late into the move, you know. Boom, 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 boom. Can you explain Silver Bullet in simple terms? If your value gap filled between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. towards the drawn liquidity between a 5-minute and 1-minute chart. You compare that with a bullish order block preferably, but every single day it'll be there. So gap inside that window, either a sibi if you're going short, bisi if you're going long, fills it, provides at least a 10, 12 handle move, but most times, at least with the volatility we're having now, way more than that. But there's typically more than one entry as well. Multiple fair value gaps filled. So if that's your model, study it, see when it happens, where it forms, how it shows up, that sort of stuff. D and I would prefer if we don't. I would find that kind of weird for us to drop all the way back down, especially since we have the presence of a breaker. Right, to me, this is a low, high, low, low. Although this is the new week opening or new day opening gap, just kind of shoots up aggressively. It's still a signature in price, so I'd prefer if we can stay within wick to candle body. Now this red box is a daily gap, so notice how the wicks are being inefficient, right? Wicks are inefficient, so if there's inefficiency inside an inefficiency, that's probably inefficient. So the candle bodies here, you extend those out, that's where we run up into. It doesn't stop at this lower portion. It comes up and tags into the inefficient section of the gap. So if you move it to here, right there, that's where it runs into. Then drops back into, I would hope this takes out the sell stops. This is already a child dealing range, right? This is already be on a lower time from a child dealing range. So it could have dropped into there, tag the order block and moved higher. Now it's dropping into a different dealing range discount. So it could be reaching to this one now. That'd be the next short-term low, or even this one here. So it could go back into this gap here. Let's see. But like I said, that's kind of far, I think. Does that look far? Drops all the way back into here, and then we're going to shoot all the way back up. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe the tariffs just has 300-point movement. I'll mark it out regardless, and we'll see. And I would have wished that there was a gap here. And there's one in the 15. Yeah, not really. So. First inefficiency here. Very, very first. Yeah, I'm with you, Lewis. I just don't want shorts at all, to be completely honest. Like in terms of weekly perspective, to me, it looked like very blatant weekly up. And even coming into it now, daily up, session up. So this is a very either deep retracement or I'm wrong on my bias. And I get no trade today. It is what it is. It's going to take that low. What's DXY doing? The dollar index is going to be useful here at 10 a.m. Where's all the liquidity at? I mean, oh, that's not good. Eh. What the? It looks the same. I mean, that's not good. I'd actually be more bullish on DXY. So, maybe it's just a crappy week then. Just tag the hourly imbalance. Opening range gap CE as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could be it'd be very weird if that happened, right? There's not much we can kind of predict. But it's very possible, right? Tariffs, UK. That's I mean, no, there's going to be an algorithmic reason for it to do that as well. I mean, maybe the gap in discount, right? Is that now it's not going to be this entire range. I wouldn't want it to come all the way down to here. That to me makes 0 sense. This dealing range here would be better. I'd say intermediate term low, right? We filled a gap, short term low after it. That's an intermediate term low, so definitely a new dealing range. Yeah. If we, so I mentioned this yesterday on the market review stream. If we do displace through these gaps and we fail to run this high, I said to be bearish probably into next week as well. That to me is very weak. You know, especially if we're on the 4-hour chart. It looks pretty healthy, and if we're failing to even run that high, we have SMT up there, and it starts to drop through and displace through that, especially, I'm bearish to probably that swing low. Even into the gap down here. Here's macro time. This is much better as an FEG. I don't like this one. So we got macro time either as reverse or to continue. Now, 930 did absolutely nothing in terms of one of those two, so I'd favor if the macro reversed here. Gonna have displacement through this inversion, this first presentation gap. Climbs up, shoots through the 940 candle through this cluster of stops. And I mean, notice how from here, right? Fails to run out this swing high. And then you've got low resistance up here, original consolidation, then it drops down, swing high, comes up, sweeps this going to 830, that's normal. Swing high, all of this. 930 doesn't run that high or that high or that high. If it's bearish, it's very weird, right? If 930 would have popped up, taken out that high, or even the 830 high, then come back down, or even tag this and move lower, I just can't argue any bearish price action. Maybe, yeah, maybe tariff is going to send us up 400 points, and that's that. And I mentioned this before, but typically when you advance your model, the really the only 2 times you take a loss, you'll be able to trade all high probability days. You'll know what to look for. You know what times the days are going to be there. You know, the price action models and methods that you're going to use in each of those days. The 2 times you take a loss is either because 1, your bias is incorrect and you stuck to it and you're like, okay, there's no reason to flip, and you just take a trade based off the bias. There's nothing wrong with that, right? This is a very easy technical fix. Easy technical. Why? Because you can go back into a higher time frame, look at the 4 hour, 1 hour, there may be one PD array you missed. And then you're like, oh, boom. I would have that if I've seen that, my bias would have been flipped, and then everything on the lower time frame would have made sense. Or it's going to be because you misidentify it as a high probability day, and it's actually just a low prob. So that means when you take the loss on the second one, you may know what's going on in the first one. The second one, you may take a loss, but then it's going to enter into consolidation. It's going to enter into this low probability environment where now it's consolidating and you don't know where it's going to go. You may think you do, and it may look high probability, but everything looks high probability until you take a loss. So in that kind of condition, you want to just be avoiding it altogether and waiting for, what the heck? There we go. Whoa. My other charts are tweaking out. There we go. You want to be just avoiding all conditions after that. And the only way you can kind of distinguish them between the two is you can't. You won't know. So then you always every single time you take a win, every single time you take a loss, every single time this happens or this happens, it all goes back to the process, right? What do you do after you take a trade? You have control up to you pull the trigger. After that, the bullet is flying. You can't move the bullet midair. Then when it hits the target, after that hits the target, then you're back in control. Let's pull up a little orange hair guy and see if he's already talking. Did he start talking at 10 or is it? Because if he should already be talking now. Trump. Oh, it starts at 10 a.m. Okay. It didn't even start yet. I'm looking at it right now. So that to me is kind of weird. Typically with these, even if you don't look at it as Black Swan, but when these news events are happening, wouldn't it be weird if the news, before he even talked about tariffs, that the market just moved aggressively? To me, I think that's a little weird. Oh, Forex Factor just added Trump speaks his right. Yeah, there you go. Wow, that's got to be random, right? Told you in the beginning it's gonna be red folder. So let's see if it can pop up here now. So we got IPG there, SMT. No SMT there. SMT there. Okay. I like that. SMTYM. Sorry. They can come back. Actually, see if we can form a breakaway gap here. Gap here, open, up. Leave it as a breakaway or even refill it a little bit. If it leaves this untouched, we're really good. What's the time on a first presentation gap? Opening range, I believe. There's no gap within opening range. It's already low probability enough where you want to just be dipping. But there's no rule for the time window. So let's see if this forms a breakaway gap, like I said. I'd prefer if not with breakaway gaps as well. The visual identification is that the third candle closes heavily past the second candle's open or the high. So that doesn't mean that, oh, every single time that happens, you have a breakaway gap. It just means that when you're anticipating one in the delivery of price, seeing that signature at the same time also kind of helps my case. Okay, so watch how this candle prints and closes. Now, is that substantially away? Not really. It's a little bit past it, so it does meet the qualifications. So then you look at to see, is this now used as a breakaway gap? Now, is there a breaker in this price action? No. So if someone was to find a preferred macro entry, would then it not drop into short-term discount? It would, right? So you're going to look at now the order block. This is not being used as a breakaway gap. So maybe with the news, it comes out. That same delivery happens. But like I said, the fact that Trump is not speaking right now, to me, seems like it's going to be a delayed kind of news thing, kind of like how the 830 started, and then the volatility kicked in, but then it didn't have a move until after the news. That's what I would like. Now, I'm not trying to predict the news or anything, so it may very well, as soon as Trump says hello, it shoots up or shoots down. What are we going to do about that? Notice on the 5-minute chart as well, we have a gap here and a bearish order block. I just tagged into mean threshold. It's starting to wick down. So as of right now, the bearish structure on the 5-minute is going to be, no pun intended, trumping the 1-minute time frame. So anything on the 1-minute time frame, if I'm looking for 1-minute setups, 90% of the time, the 5-minute order flow has to be in line, unless I'm taking like a turtle soup entry. But if I'm watching order flow, I'm making sure that although I'm watching both at the same time, right? And it's only until like I'm very confident about the direction of price do I just go to here, like you saw on Tuesday. By the way, I'm not going to show any demo executions for Silver Bullet, just the one shot one kill that I'm focusing on right now. So we got the news here in about 20 seconds. Breathe. Something crazy happens. We're just observing candles, all right? If nothing happens, then nothing happens. Zero expectations. Not expectations of something, not expectations of something. Zero. Just flat. It's data, right? This is controlled. So here's Trump starting to speak. So, like I said, I'd favor if the move and the volatility comes in when he actually talks about the tariffs, which may be in 10 minutes from now or 5 minutes from now. I guess I could pull it up at the same time and you can watch it. Cardinal, you can mark this out as a first presentation gap. There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is it's not truly inefficient because there was just a balanced price range right to the left of it. That's to the left of it, not to the right to the left. But to the left, there's a balanced price range and price, right? We just had dealing range come through. Sell orders, buy orders. This is not, I mean, you could use that. There's nothing wrong with that. I like this more because this is an inefficiency, if that makes sense, right? This is a true sibi. There's no whatever on the left side recently that's going to act as that one. Does that make sense? There you go, Scrappy. That'd be injecting logic. So you could use that if you wanted to. Anytime one of these things are going to happen, you have a written down piece of paper. All right, where the my injecting logic statements. I'm just observing price. If I pull the trigger, I can't move where the bullet's going. Of course, you're aiming for something, but if you don't know what you're aiming for, if you don't know gun safety, you're going to get injured. Right? So in this case, you're always just an observer. You have no expectations of price moving, price giving you what you want. On every single day, it's individual. Right? So every day is separate from what happened before, separate from what's going to go on tomorrow. And we're just observing. We're just a spectator. People who place expectations and need something from the market then end up hurting themselves. We're just in here as professionals. We observe. If there's something that we like, we point it out. Something we don't like, it's normal, right? 80%, 90% of the market, I'm not going to want, right? 90% of what's movement in price, probably more than that, probably like 99% of what's happening in price action, I don't really want. So maybe only 1%, that's my model. Or not even that's my model, that's just what I like to look for. So in this case, we got some displacement up through here. You could look at that potentially as a market structure shift, especially if we hold this OB. So MSS can happen on both the left side and the right side of the curve. Something new you learn. So if we have this swing high all the way down up here, and then we have this, do you have to wait for here to then look for longs? No. Why would that make any sense? Especially if this is a higher time frame, right? Look at 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, I believe. we could be looking for bullish price action in here. And we did that on stream. Took a long on stream. So market structure shift could be over here. So we're touching the order block there, immediate rebalance, watching to see, like I said, if the breakaway gaps can form. No breakaway gaps. That's kind of a telltale sign. Very, very good filter to have. Like if you've got the 5-minute structure as one of your filters, and then you've got 1-minute breakaway gaps forming, or even not breakaway gaps forming, but just really, really clean delivery and those inefficiencies. Golden. I'm going to pull up the Trump speech right now. As soon as he starts talking about the tariffs, we'll know. Let's see. They didn't even start. Lagging behind, huh? I mean, based on what he put out, not that I'm saying what he puts on Twitter matters, but it sounds like it's good sentiment. The agreement with the United Kingdom is a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom for many years to come. Blah, 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 blah. So, it's already kind of weird, PA. All right, so this one here, watching this gap. Nice. Stay within the wick here. We already have 50% of this tagged, so no longer a breakaway gap. So now you gotta wait. You wait, you wait, you wait. My trading view is showing totally different candles and info. I don't know. If I have current contract here, NQM 2025, live data feed, 1-minute chart, ETH. If those are not all the same, then it will be different. Those 4 things you got to check. NQ, 1-minute, live data feed, ETH. If you're not on all those, then you're gonna have different settings to me. What the heck just happened? Okay. All right. Guess so. Me? Am I delayed? I shouldn't be delayed. Oh. See the problem? Okay, perfect. Yep, so look how the OB is not being respected now. There's no breakaway gaps. So at this point, it is post 10. So I would favor, if then this is the low of the session, and therefore low of the day. If this is broken with displacement, you're looking for shorts into 1030. But like I said before, I'm not favoring any short movement because of the fact that we're trading into IRLs. The next ERL is Asian low, and that's about it. So although it may be consolidating here, I'm monitoring currently how we're respecting this low day. That's really my parameters right now. Is this low and this high? Displacement or either one of those should be kind of blatantly obvious. Market structure is moving towards that direction. But just because it's doing this, and I can say, oh, this is maybe the low session, a low of day, and we're holding this first presentation gap during the macro time, doesn't give me 100% reason to look for an entry, right? It should do. So it's 10:07. Maybe been here for 37 minutes or so, 38 minutes. Do an emotional check. How do you feel? Do a full body scan. How do you feel mentally? How do you feel with your heart rate? Do you have any emotions? Do you feel your body temperature rising? Do you feel antsy, waiting for something to happen? We just check out the low. Does that have any stimulation or effect on your well-being? There's physical signs. So if there's physical signs, then you can spot those. If that means you had to turn off the charts, turn off the what you're looking for, then that is what it is. But better to save and preserve mental capital than to waste it away on Trump speaking. So we didn't get displacement through that low. I'm having a hard time reading it, as you can kind of see. But it is just consolidating within here. No SMT there either. So yeah, bias may be wrong. Still have not displaced through the low. We've gotten all these kind of weird gaps, just kind of consolidating on the 5-minute as well. Look at the closure there. Did he start speaking yet? I'm just going to keep this pulled up on my other screen. Nope. Live news. Oh. Why does it say there's no upcoming events today? What the heck? Who knows? Starting to realize I don't understand when I should be using PD race as entries. There's several opportunities that would have jumped in if trading by myself. Silver offers a stage and price lever just as any. Yep, correct. Right. Yeah, you need correct narrative. So in order to use, PD rays are just signatures, right? It's signatures and price. Now that doesn't mean that. Thank you so much. Yeah, can you monitor it? Let us know. So PD rays are just signatures, right? It's just data. And there's going to be a lot more data than you need, especially on this 1-minute chart here that I like to tape read on. Sometimes you go to a 15-second chart, right? If you go to a 15-second chart, there's so many PD rays. And the fallacy of ICT trading is thinking that just because we have a specific PD ray, that you have a trade off of it, or it's telling you something about narrative. It's not true. This is the displacement I'm looking for, by the way. Took out the low with displacement. It's also into key time here. So most likely my one shot, one kill is going to be stopped out. In profit after taking a partial, and it is what it is. But more about the lower time frame stuff, this gap here. So I'm looking for something very specific. The reason I'm not taking entries on every single PD race, even sometimes when I know where the bias is going, and I may have a good understanding of what price is telling me, I'm sticking to my weekly bias, which is the fact that I'm looking for bullish price action. Even if the 5 minutes telling me, okay, we're likely to roll over here, or maybe trading back into the gap. So the signatures that show me, okay, there's a gap here based on time of day as well. We have macro time in here forming this swing point. It's telling me, by the way, you can't really trust time precision until Trump speaks, so I want to see if the volatility kicks in. I'm going to pull up that Fox News thing there. So specific, key times will have very specific PD array entries. So if I'm looking for bullish price action, for example, and 9:30 is showing me that, okay, it just tagged into a higher time frame PD array and is going to be the swim in the swing point in the market, I'm then looking for a combination of PD arrays at that key time for me to get an entry. So that would be turtle soup, or potentially a fair value gap with a market structure shift and a short-term discount to be dropped into. So it's a combination of PD arrays to be used. It also has to be in line with draw on liquidity. That's the overarching, everything relies on draw, both on time and both on price. So if you don't know where draw is, then nothing on the lower time frames will make sense. And then this way, if you're looking for shorting opportunities, the best ones I could say that I could look for, I don't mind this one. I think it's a little bit weird. I would have liked if the gap was down here and we traded into it and used that as a bearish order block. So maybe I would say, okay, skip that one. And then we got displacement leg down, inefficiency. With that leg here, trades up into it during macro time. That also would be bad. Even in here, we have a gap traded into after that. So both of those. But notice how it's shooting up, tagging the order block. Then it's coming down. Then it's coming all the way back up into this. Then it's lethargically moving back down again, not filling these gaps. But notice how the wicks are present. So to me, that's why I'm not trying to get in a trade here, even if I know it's bearish or even if I'm thinking it's bullish, because either side is not clean. Neither side is clean for me. And I also don't want to be trading into an IRL because this is going to be a very high resistance move into the IRL. So if the draw liquidity is down here at this Asian low, for example, this is the kind of movement we're going to get the entire time. Lack of manipulation, displacement, no gaps filling and forming here. I mean, look at from 8:30 till now. That to me looks weird. How do I feel about CRT theory? I think it's the absolute, me personally, the most BS thing ever made out of ICT concepts. Personally, I've been on rants about a CRT before, but it's literally just rebranded buy side and sell side. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, but my approach on it is people who don't know what true buy side and sell side is think there's specific candles that create it, which is true. If you're looking at sessions and days and kill zones, of course it's going to work sometimes. But it's one of those things where you will have some people defending it, some people not. But if you go in and look at the data of, okay, is this actually reliable? Is it something I can use? Or is it something that just happens sometimes that also lines up with an actual algorithmic explanation? That's what I encourage everyone to go in and do. Okay. So any of the concepts that I teach, any of the concepts that ICT teaches, or Romeo, or whoever, go in and see for yourself. Maybe there is some validity for it. But yeah, CRT is a pattern. I 100% agree. Yeah, and if you take ICT's word for truth, his technical word, he is openly said that CRT is BS. Trump also, by the way, has not started speaking at all yet. Still waiting on him. Or
you just got this
he's waiting in the market.
$200 head turning hot fuchsia dress for
yeah, waiting on BIS. Hey, there you go. Not gonna lie, I'm talking too much about BIS. I gotta stop. Yeah, I'm the people who have something that they want to teach you, you'll know what's true or not. And does he ever live stream it? Does he ever show you what his concepts are doing? Or is it just hindsight pictures? He can't, he literally doesn't know how to soup. Like, even if he does, then. Yeah, exactly. You can find, not even my content, you can find better content just out of anyone out of YouTube, most likely. Turbo, me, Elijah, um, anyone else? Afiz, there you go. Where has he been? I have not. Maybe I'm just not off socials enough where oh he's on IG now. Oh wow. He's gone down the road of doom. Each their own. If you're trading silver bullet with no bias, what would the trade be today? Right now nothing. Right now nothing. I would have liked if there was a gap here, but notice how I don't see any manipulation. Any real manipulation like. So for me to get a confident silver bullet, I need that -1 to -1.5 to be very, very confident in it. Nothing in there, nothing at the 930 that drops and takes this high, right? No, day after FOMC should be fine. So I'm waiting for that manipulation to come in. You could maybe say, okay, we've got this, the signature of the mitigation, but there's no gap forming within that same y-axis. So right now, silver bullet, for me, I'm flat. I don't even think there's a silver bullet in here. I would just be waiting, right? This is the kind of that shift of time. I'm using it like if you've ever seen those dials together where you have kind of like this this thing at the top that you can kind of spin around, and then you get the thing at the bottom that you can kind of spin around until they line up. Like this thing lines up with this thing, and then you move it over to the left, and then boom, and then it will unlock something, kind of like one of those spinning key locks. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the market to be in line with my bias, first of all, and then when a specific time of day shows me this specific, if I'm looking at, okay, 950 is a 0, then I need to see the 0 signature on the very next thing in price, if time's lining up. So if silver bullet is just a time window, of course there's going to be a gap that's traded into. Of course it's going to be there, and it's going to be multiple. So just because I may miss one doesn't mean I'm going to get that same opportunity. But the criteria that I have in the PDF, that full like 7-point bullet list of an actual silver bullet, the model in there, that's what I'm favoring. And then within that silver bullet time, it's got to be obvious to me. So now we're getting some movement. Not seeing enough movement. When was that? Like 2020? Who knows? Oh, and he still has not started speaking. And to me, this does not look like something I want to engage in. It's 2021 ball drop. All right. Shout out Ninja. So just because I'm right, we are paid to make what? We're not paid to show up. We're not paid to sit in front of the charts and think that we're owed something. We are paid to make the right decision. So if the right decision, at least for me, is to stay flat, I'm going to stay flat because this is paying me. This movement here is paying me. I'm going to star this one and use it later. So if you get paid to make the right decision every day. Sometimes you get paid and you see that P&L on the screen. Sometimes you take a loss. Sometimes you don't take a trade, but you still get paid. It's this very weird thing of trading where it's like you get a paycheck, but sometimes they take a little bit out of the paycheck. Sometimes they give you the full paycheck. Sometimes they give you a little bit more on the paycheck. Sometimes you don't get a paycheck at all. But at the end of the year, it still says 300,000. They just kind of mess with you. That's what trading is. But what you're not going to do is just because you got that first paycheck and it was less than you thought, you're going to quit the job and just not do what you're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to be fixing a car and then your first paycheck is, you need the money and you get $50 on it instead of 100. But then he says, yo, the next one, sometime in the future, I'm going to give you $300 in your paycheck to make up for that one. You don't get paid to show up all the time. You get paid the right to make the right decision. The right decision would just be to stay out of the market, jump in when it's good. After you pull the trigger, there's nothing you can control. So we're just lining up the shot here. We got the scope. We got the sniper ready. I'm not trying to machine gun my way through and clear the entire forest and then hit nothing. I'm just waiting for the target to walk right into my crosshair. Got one bullet. Take the shot. You can't control where the shot's going to go midair. You're in control of lining up the shot, pulling the trigger, making sure you're on target. If you miss the shot, you miss the shot. You come back tomorrow. Can't talk about shooters and snipers and BIS in the same stream. True. You want proof that they're not going to change the market? Go and turn on the Trump stream and look at the chat. You got 34,000 people all talking about some go up, go down, buy SPY calls, 100K BTC. This is you're my liquidity. Weird day. Very weird day. What time is this? 10:12? Yeah, it's out. We got Silver Bullet lining up here. Should be done in the next 14 minutes. And then we got Last Ditch. No, I'm still looking for longs. I'm doing both. I'm tape reading and I'm looking for longs. I'm not going to take any live trades here. I'll show you if there's a high quality setup that I'm liking, but I'm not going to take any demo trades like I did on Tuesday. We already got one for the week. This is not a signal service either. So this is one of those boring tape reads. There's not much for me to point to that I think is clean. So we're just kind of in this chop. We got to wait for at least Trump to say something, and then we'll get some volatility coming in. I don't know why he's 27 minutes late. Big boys must have called and said wait till 10:30. You know what's funny is the fact that you can find all the data you want and all the politicians you want. As soon as you look up some of those board members on the BIS, the guy who actually runs the Fed, nothing. No Wikipedia page, a LinkedIn with a couple things, but nothing. You think power wants to be seen? It doesn't. Power doesn't need to prove it's powerful. Only the frauds do. No, I don't. I don't. I don't. Maybe. I'm not a market maker. I just soup. Bro, that guy. I genuinely don't understand that. Unicorn set up negative RR. Shout out Dragon, man. Shout out Dragon. All right, so we got 10 seconds here. Hopefully 10:30 he pops through. Let's see. Still nothing. Bank for International Settlements. It's the BIS. It is a central bank that owns central banks. You can do your research on it, but it is a entity that owns about 95% of the global GDP. Global. So they own, the Federal Reserve. You think the Federal Reserve runs it? No, they don't. They go on. There's one above that. Okay, the BIS owns the Bank of America. Federal Reserve. It's got Switzerland, France, Germany, England, Belgium, Japan, all the G20 countries. So they own all those central banks. It's a central bank that basically offers liquidity and settlement prices for interbank transfers. And yep, they're based in Switzerland, Geneva Convention, etc. Wasn't the bottom wick on the 1400 Devil's Mark there? I mean, we just filled it in now, so it should be okay. Yeah. Makes sense. The building looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's like a little spiral thing. What mechanical / confirmation rules do you use to not worry about price leaving without you? It's a good question. So I have a handful of price things that I use. Time is my foundation of model. It's the foundation of my higher time frame, lower time frame. Everything that I look for is time based, because that's what it should be. For price, I'm looking for specific signatures during those time windows. So for the macro time, I'm looking for either a 2022 model or a unicorn setup to show up in line with my bias after I can read what 930 did. If I can't read what 930 did, okay, then I go to 10 o'clock. If 10 o'clock doesn't make any sense, then I go to Silver Bullet. So Silver Bullet, I'm looking for very specific PD arrays as well. It's your normal stuff, right? Higher time frame PD array, some sort of confirmation of reversal, either through an IFVG, a shift, or a SysD, displacement through that, respective new order flow. I can now look for higher prices, things like that, right? And I know that also, I'm not going to miss a move. If price is going to move to my draw and I'm in front of the charts, I have plenty of entry techniques to get in the move. And even if this is my draw and I get in over here, it's not, don't look at this as, oh, you're only going to get from here to here, Flux. Don't you think that's too little? Where what happens if you take multiple losses, or what happens when that's not enough? But you're forgetting the fact that you can go into a lower time frame like the 15-second chart like I did on Tuesday, you get a very precise entry using the same exact entry criteria you use, and now you're still getting a 3-to-1 because your stop loss was so close. So anytime I'm looking for price action, if I miss the first move, I could care less because I know how to get in a second time. And when that entry is going to happen, that's the more important thing. So I have specific filters that sometimes I can't articulate that are just ingrained in my mind just by looking at it. I've watched it for the past 4 years or not. Yeah, 4 years or so. So there's certain things that I'll just be able to pick up just by the way the specific candles are printing that I may not be able to articulate all the time. But you know, formation of gaps, distribution of these candles on the yep, I'm watching that right now too. That to me is going to be more important. So notice how now we have, like I mentioned before over here, now we have a breakaway gap and a short-term high here, right? What is this? You have a high with a high to the left of it, high to the right of it. What does that make that? An intermediate term high. What would make this? What's that? Right? All these things lining up. Screenshot this. Put it into predictions chat. So I like to see if this can hold. I really, really like if this holds. And we know that, okay, even if it consolidates, comes back into consolidation, what opportunity do we have every single day, regardless if it consolidates? Last ditch. So if price, even if price from 930 to all the way through silver bullet is crappy, why do you think the silver bullet is so good? Because you have technically 3 entries built into the silver bullet. You have the end of the macro time, you have the entire silver bullet window, and then you have the start of the last ditch. So that, of course, it's going to be there every single day. Watching this. The favor of this is left open as a breakaway gap, like I mentioned. Coming down, touching the OB. Low probability OB, we've got just the candle body there. Now, we actually notice how there's a volume bounce present within these 2 candles. So this is going to be the one that's referenced. And this is the one we want to read. So actually, this is the OB. Anytime you're looking at an order block range that's consecutive, so it's touching the breakaway gap there. You look at is there a volume bounce in that candle body? If there is, so already this qualifies. You don't need to see a closure. The fact that it's wicking below this, no longer a breakaway gap. And these kind of days will test your patience. If you look, think about this. If you walk into a day and you're anticipating right at 9:50 today, I'm going to get an entry, and then you don't get an entry, it feels like anything after that, you're late. You're late. You're late. You have an expectation of, I need to get a trade. And when you don't get one, anytime after that, it feels like, oh, this is the move. This is the move. This is the move. This is the move. And you burn all your mental capital. And by the time the actual move is there, you either already took 3 losses, or you have 0 mental capital to feel comfortable enough to take the trade and hold it. So you have 0 expectations. So sometimes no trade is better than a losing trade, right? And a good trade is always better than a bad trade. And by that I mean not a winning trade. I mean a good execution is better than a FOMO. And in here, I had no expectations coming to the day. Of course, I wanted it to move higher, but my expectation for a trade, I'm going to just still trade like each individual day is a separate entity. And that's why I said at 10:08, do a mental check. Do a mental check again. Do a mental check. See, do you feel anticipation? Do you feel like you're trapped by the candles? Do you feel like you're missing something? Do you feel like it's moving without you? Do you feel heightened tension? Recognize them. They're not problems, right? Your emotions are not the problems. They're signals to an underlying problem. So never use those as like, oh, I need to stop feeling this way. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You need to fix the problem that's making you feel this way. So if you have this kind of built up pressure, you feel like, and you're not, for me, I'll hold my breath sometimes. I'll hold my breath and I'll hyper focus. So I see myself doing that, then it's not that's the problem, and I'm going to try and forcibly make myself breathe. It's the fact that forcibly making myself breathe makes me think, and then I can think about what's making me feel this way in the first place. Yeah, he must have been sleeping or something. I don't know what the... Who knows? See what they have it on Forex Factory now. He's just taking his good old sweet time. Tomorrow we don't really have any news. If you look at the FOMC member Waller speaks, Waller is a nobody. And he's talking at Hoover Monetary Policy hosted by Stanford University. It's going to create very little movement at all. Yeah, possibly see me tomorrow. We'll see if it's a good PA. But take care. World leader of a superpower country being impunctual. There you go, real deal. Yeah, if you want to walk away. Not going to miss anything, right? It's more of just walking away isn't the issue. It's never the issue. It's the fact that you may think that when you do walk away, that as soon as you step away and as soon as you turn off the computer, it's going to happen. But if you can reason with that outcome, if you know, okay, I say there's no good move here. So that means if I can't see a good move, and even if the move happens after that, I'm fine with that. It can move 3,000 points without me. There's, it'll be, then you can be like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. And if that same exact price action happens, then I can extend my look on price. But saving mental capital will always be the right decision, right? And if it doesn't form a move, and I'm sitting here fruitlessly, and until 11 o'clock it just consolidates, then so be it, right? Because then you're even more proud of the fact that you walked away. You're just taking vacation. I'm gonna just stream up to 11 o'clock. If we don't get any move until 11 o'clock, then I'll end it off. But there should be a last ditch macro, despite Trump speaking, despite him not speaking. There should be a last ditch, especially with this consolidation we're seeing. And the most dangerous market conditions a lot of times are these large range consolidations. When price is in a higher time frame consolidation area, namely, where are we at? Why would price be consolidating right now? We're at 50% of a new dealing range on the 1 hour chart, right at equilibrium. What is expected to form right at equilibrium? Consolidation. So right there, consolidating. If it moves up, that's what I'm expecting. But these kind of large range consolidation days where you see 1 minute and 5 minute gaps, but it's not really moving, it's staying within this box. These a lot of times are the most dangerous days for any trader, ICT or not. Because what happens is you find what you think is a good trade, you get stopped out, and then there's quote unquote more opportunities. Oh, there's a gap here. Or, oh, it looks like it's displacing. Or, oh, it looks like it's doing this. And then you take a second trade, you lose again. Then you're like, oh, maybe this is the move. Take a third trade, fourth trade, 5 trade. Count's gone. So sometimes, like I said, you're going to misidentify days as high probability, and you just don't know it's this. You don't know it's this until after it's printed. So what you do is all you got to do, you take the loss, you take whatever. I can't read it. You have to accept the fact that you cannot read it today. I simply just do not know what's going on. If that hurts your ego, that's tough. I simply do not know what's going on today. So that doesn't mean you're going to not know forever. It just means that you got to wait until noon for the answer key to come out, or 1600 for the answer key to come out. You're not going to not be given the answer key. You'll know every single time what it does after the fact. But sometimes you got to have just patience for, all right, the answer key is at noon. It's just that uncertainty. You take the test, and then between when the teacher grades the test and when you took it, it's that uncertainty feeling. But if you know, I studied, how are you confident in that? How are you confident? The fact that the day before, I just studied for 8 hours and I showed up for this test ready to go. I drank my water. I ate something before I showed up. I got there 5 minutes early so I can get my seat. you're not going to be worrying about the outcome that much because you did what you're supposed to be doing, right? That's the same thing in trading. The people who then show up 15 minutes before their test, not knowing there was a test today, and then there's a question they don't understand, and then they walk out of it thinking, oh, what, I should have done this, or what did you get on this answer? Oh, you got that? Oh, maybe I was wrong. Isn't that what trading is? You see that all the time. So what you do is you study beforehand. That's your technicals. You study yourself. Figure out the psychology part of it. And then when you show up on a day, you know that your satisfaction and your reward comes from the fact that you're journaling, the fact that you're showing up and you're giving yourself the best opportunity to win and to do the thing you're supposed to be doing without any hesitation. That's really the main thing, right? Is we think that sometimes when something goes wrong, it's not the fact that we fear that outcome. It's the fact that we fear that we can't do what we need to do. We don't trust ourselves. We have no self-respect. So when we do take a loss, it's not the fact that a loss is going to tell you that your trading model is invalidated. The fact that when you do take that loss, you now fear being out of control. You know what's going to happen. That's the major part, right? I think Mark Douglas talks about that in his book. Then look at the PA. It's just coming down and wicking back and forth, taking the stops, coming back up, not respecting any gap besides this hourly gap. You got 5 minutes to last ditch, so dial back in, hopefully here. Let's get our focus back. Let's check for SMT really quick. Nothing there. YM is looking a little bit better. We got a 5-minute gap there dropping into it. Short-term discount. So it should have reacted off of this one. So it's a little bit weaker than I'd like. Yeah, same thing. 5-minute gap there being printed with the IFEG. Then we've got nothing major yet. We have no SSD after that. So yeah, Trump didn't know there was a test today. But doesn't it make sense though? Maybe there wasn't enough liquidity coming into 10 a.m. What are they going to do? Stall it out. They got, how many people are watching that live stream? 35,000 people watching the live stream. And probably more anticipating the fact that Trump just destroyed the markets with tariffs. And now he's going to come in and talk about tariffs with UK, a powerful country, a G10 country. Maybe they stall it out. Maybe they generate liquidity. Maybe they put low resistance to both sides. Here. And here. And then maybe they sweep one side and go the other way. I'm not going to be trading inside of this, right? So a lot of times you can just be marking out the consolidation high, consolidation low, and you wait for displacement through it. I marked out this as the current session low, and we did wick through it a little bit, but then we dropped down here. Nor did it respect the gap. It came all the way up back into premium, filled this inefficiency, dropped back down. Very, very weird distribution. Approaching last ditch. Soon, Trump makes a major decision. Boring, boring, boring. Tiny VI there. I mean, look at this mess. 15-second chart. Holding pattern. It's definitely a bit more bearish. Still holding PD rate on the downside. Same thing I said on the 5-minute before, right? 5-minute order flow is weird, but still holding order blocks and such. High probability order block here. Shouldn't have been reclaimed. We already had a retracement into the OB, took out the retracement low. Reclaimed order block, already low probability. You can reclaim it as many times until we take out that low. As soon as you take out that low, you want to look for more gaps or more high probability order blocks within that range to respect it and it roll over. Doesn't do that. Here's 1050 macro. So we can look for a little scalp here. If it gives it to us, and then we can be done for the day. All that work for a little scalp, huh? Now, for the last stitch macro, for the silver bullet, anytime you have these later moves, temptation walks in and says, yeah, we don't need our model. We don't need all that stuff. That's just the first gap that forms. If it's there, the first little movement of 1050, let's get in. Don't do that. You wait for the same stuff. So if I'm looking for shorts in here, I need to find a sibi. It's got to be a sibi. Forms it, prints it. Now, if we have this next candle print and close through this wick, that is a very strong algorithmic signature, especially if we have a gap on this lower portion. But you're waiting for the same stuff, right? You're waiting for a gap, preferably an order block, preferably with 1050 macro. You want to wait for and target the drawn liquidity that's not been met yet. So you don't just flip because the movement is changing. The 1050 macro is one of those weird ones. Sometimes it's very obvious. It's continuing the move until 11 o'clock. Sometimes it's not so obvious, and you want to be waiting for, like I said, those same exact signatures. So at this point, right, we look at this dealing range here between right now and that short-term swing high I've got at the blue. Got the displacement lag. You've got a gap here. So if it comes back up and tags that, I'm not going to be looking for a short instantaneously off of that. If I was looking for shorts, I'd favor then if it traded into here. We've got SMT. It drops down and then gives me a SysD here and then market in there, put my stop here and then target this low because then now I have an actual true, maybe a 3-to-1. Instead of just trying, oh, Trump started. Here we go. Right during last ditch? Come on now.
4 weeks. With
A little
this
late
deal,
to the party, huh,
UK
Trump?
joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade.
Bro, turn your mic down, Trump.
Market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and
So like I said, for the weekly perspective, I still like longs.
products produced by our great farmers and our secretary.
Don't let this volatility freak you out. Like I said, it's programmed. It is programmed. We're watching a program. All right. It's going to do the same thing it always has done. It's normal. There's nothing wrong. The volatility is built into the market. All right. Oh, why did Asian session move yesterday? I gave you the explanation as to why it moved yesterday. All right. There's nothing wrong. So don't let your anticipation build either. He starts talking. All the retail minds are synced up now. All the retail minds are synced up. Boom. News starts. Retail minds are synced. It's like a vibrational wave. Fight or flight kicks in. They got to hit a dopamine, adrenaline, anticipation. The first move that happens is priming. First move happens. All right, that may be manipulation. We're watching the same thing we always watch. We watch order flow. What is it telling us on the charts? Okay, we just dropped into a higher time frame gap with a larger breaker in here. This low, high, lower, low. That entire thing. We also have this wick it's reacting off of. Premium wick with the inefficiency dropping into discount. Also on the 15-minute chart. We have got a gap here. That's true. It's the one gap though. It's been it's respecting this for the most part, and it's just kind of been stalling out. All right. There's no difference. And if it decides to drop down and take out this low, then so be it. All right, what's going to happen? You're not going to have food today? Any of that? None of that, right? Volatility's definitely kicked in. It's definitely kicked in. Like I said, if it's going to trade into this gap, I would look for a SysD. After that, it's too quick to the point where I can't even get a SysD entry. All right, this is 15-second. Look how quick that is. I would have liked if it grabbed it there and then popped back up. I just got stop filled on my limit order for my longs. We'll look at that at the end, but watching here. So we still got 6 minutes left until the low should be formed. Okay, 11 o'clock becomes that draw on time in this case for the last ditch. So, same exact thing. We got a sibi forming here. Got a bearish order block. The volatility kicked in. Sure. Got to be very careful, though. Very, very careful. The problem with these high-impact news drivers, especially with Trump speaking and stuff, is what's called slippage. Slippage is where you have a limit order and it actually gaps past your order. And that's actually what a fair value gap is, right? Sometimes you have one limit order. It takes a lot of volatility for that limit order not to be filled. Now, say you have $52 billion worth of orders on one line. Is one candle going to fill all of that? No. So that's what an inefficiency is. So, but sometimes when you have this high volatility, your limit orders can be missed. Look at this. Look at the signature here. Boom. Wick closes through the wick. If it closes through, of course. 15-second trade. So let's link this up. So there's my stop fill on the one shot, one kill. Let me actually close up my limit order so I don't get whacked. All right. So on the 1 hour chart, we'll look at that quickly. So buying down here near the low of the week. Filling it up at the buy side at the Asian high. Trying to buy more off the 8:30 news. Bought more off the 9:30 or 8:30 news again. Stopped out there in profit. Okay, so now we can look for potentially a short setup on a scalp. Back into the IRL. I already said it's going to be low probability. I don't really like shorts. So it'd be very scalpy. I'm not trying to get the entire range, nor do I think that the entire week is bearish at this point. We got to be careful, right? So I took out the low. And maybe, just like we saw at FOMC and NFP, maybe this starts the move. Right? When did Trump start speaking? 9:50. Let's put that on the board here. What is he talking about here?
On that day, the UK and the US stood together as the closest of allies. And Donald, I think...
Absolutely nothing. They just yapping. No SMT there. Details aren't being released until later. So what I'm hearing is manipulation. And if I got stopped out my one shot, one kill, it is what it is. Same exact thing. Oh, what if tomorrow and when the thing goes up, it shoots up, flux? Finalized in the coming weeks. Oh yeah, we're cooked. They just be pump faking. Trump is low-key just SGA. Shout out Shai Gilgis, man. Terrible basketball player. He's not my league MVP. Nope. Right, here we go. Yep, and these two are going to be best friends now. Yeah, I started something. Nope. My Knicks are low-key like that. Shout out O'Runson. Sorry, I'm not locked in. This Trump's got me all messed up. Brunson over SGA? No, hell no. Jokic over SGA. I'll take that. And you can't disagree. I'm sorry, you can't disagree. You know I'm true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, please give me a setup. Retail mines. Let's go to just turtle soup. Let's just look at the turtle soup. I'm sick of it. Into premium. No SMT there though. Yes. Thank you. Gap down, please. Gap down. No. No. Um. mm, Yeah, they're just memeing at this point. What? What is this? You're killing me. If they get me with a PD ray, is this? What is this? No. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even on the 15. See this? Give me this at 9:30. Like, why didn't they just do that at 9:30? Give me this at 9:30. I mean, so 11 o'clock should make the new low. Is what I'm looking for. We still have not gotten Now, what you could be looking for, 11:30 is the next key time. I'm not going to be streaming until then, nor am I going to be looking to trade, but for studying purposes. Yo, how did you know I played ace? For studying purposes, 11:30 is what's called the lunch macro run-on stops. It also starts sometimes a 90-minute cycle. The lunch macro run-on stops will typically hunt silver bullet stop session or silver bullet session stops within the range. So when 11:30 starts, look where the stops are during silver bullet. Doesn't mean it's going to go for the lowest low to the highest high. Look for the stops. So 11:30 starts. If we're still within this consolidation range, I see buy side here with the original consolidation. I see buy side here. Lower than that, what is that relative equal highs? I see buy stops here. We already took out the silver bullet low. So 11:30 is a new key function of time, and you have time related buy side as well. Silver bullet highs, time of day. But yeah, even on the 15-second chart, I'm not confident in any of this movement really. Oh, now we've got SMT. SysD. Is it gonna give me the gap fill? LRLR too. Yeah, you're right. So I'm not going to take the trade, but just watch how to see if this prints. So I'm liking if it fills this gap, moves down, takes out the sell side, and we could be done. Fills the gap there. Sell side on target. I'd favor if... Let's put it at the stop high. I'm going to watch this. Okay, just watching, just watching, just watching. So time of day, it's 11 o'clock. We should see the new low. We've got a gap there with SMT at the short-term highs, displacement through a short-term low, inefficiency filled in a short-term premium, and target on the sell stops. Is that not the model? I told you to wait for the model, right? The model's there. So being very conservative with the stop loss placement of that SMT protected high here and here. Market structure shift through there, gap filled, boom, boom. Also, what time is it? Macro time. So let's see if we can take out the low here. And like I said, this is just watching it. This is what you can do. If you're not confident about trading the 1050 macro, if you're not confident about silver bullet, you don't, maybe your 9050 is your model. And you're like, okay, I want to study silver bullet. This is what you do. Beginning, you just watch it. You don't know what's going to happen. Then as you get confident and more confident about it, then you'll mark it up like this. Then eventually you'll take a demo trade on it. Over and over and over again. So, well, low probability conditions, stop trimming is going to be much more difficult to do. So it's best on low probability days and low probability, not trades. I don't want to say low probability trades, but low probability days. Accept risk, keep stop where it is until you take partials. When you take partials, then you can maybe move to break even, but that's about it. ES is stalling out a little bit, but it looks fine for the most part. We've got a gap here also being filled and respected. So order flow to me looks one-sided. Take care, NPY. Thanks for sticking around. I know it's a longer stream today. We've got basically no movement, but hopefully still something to learn from. So now, best case scenario, I don't want this wick to be taken out. This short-term high, right? We've got a gap fill, short-term high with a short-term high after that. That should be an intermediate-term high. So if we don't take out that high, it'd be best. Boom. So that'd be a potential stop out. Same thing over here. Look how it's displacing through it too. Bum, 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 bum. Using it as an IFBG. Stop should go now at this point. OB of the wick tags it, send it right now. Take to this high, probably to the premium end of this gap. You're going to find it down to. I can't really refine it that much. There you go. Boom. Maybe up to here, but that's about it. And I could have been stopped down. It's going to move back lower, but like I said, we're going to watch that. See if it doesn't play out. Didn't play out. Didn't take it on demo, just to watch. Low probability conditions. I told you didn't like shorts from the jump. From 9:30, I told you don't like shorts. So did we get any really high quality shorting opportunity in here? I don't think so. Right? Like if I really look at it, I mean, maybe this one, but with Trump speaking, do I really trust the volatility is going to hold that? No. So like I said, I wanted to see the SysD afterwards. Didn't really get a high quality SysD move. You could argue this is a shorting opportunity down to that low or down to this low. I don't really care at this point. Even long, there's no long opportunity. So one of those weird kind of consolidation days that maybe we see in PM session that just tags all of this, which I'd still like, to be completely honest. So take care today. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what price action does. Anything good. If not, then we'll have no stream. We already did a psychology stream yesterday, so we'll have a backtesting stream sometime between now and Saturday. Be on the lookout for that. But like I said, I appreciate you guys for sticking around for this long, and hopefully you learn something from it. How to stay out, maybe. How to manage your emotions. How to just kind of sit on your hands for the entire session, not have any anticipation, and now you're bored. And if you find yourself is craving some sort of, maybe you feel pain right now. Maybe you feel yourself craving something. Go out and get that dopamine from something else. Don't get the dopamine from the charts. You still need coping mechanisms. Your brain loves coping mechanisms. Don't use these two buttons as your coping mechanisms. Okay? These two buttons will hurt you. So go back in, go outside. Go back into this later, but go outside, go work out, go drink a cup of coffee, go eat some food, enjoy life. This charts is not everything, right? We sat here, we showed up, we did what we were supposed to be doing, which means no trade. And look how it may not feel great, but it doesn't suck, right? At least we didn't take a crazy trade and then you over leveraged and over traded. Enjoy this, enjoy the peace of it. You may get bored of peace, but this is what you want, right? So maybe you got no trade and that hurts. Maybe it feels like you were owed something today, you weren't. So you got to go out and get that dopamine, get that endorphins from something else. Working out is fantastic for that. But just because you take a trade today doesn't mean you don't journal. So go in, journal today. I didn't get a trade. I felt anticipation. I'm glad that I was patient. I'm glad that I was disciplined. And if you weren't disciplined, maybe you did overtrade today. Don't look at that as I suck at trading. Just look at it as, okay, I knew what I was supposed to be doing. Other people maybe have not taken a trade. I saw the results that it provided them. I want the peace that they have. Next time that this happens, boom, 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 boom. And after the end of it, you're not thinking about it all day. Right? That's what we want. So journal today. Do the things that are necessary to succeed. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.